My, oh my. Good Friday here. What's going on is Greg. Greg said it. How everybody doing out there on this Good Friday night? Nobody catching no high school football tonight. Appreciate y'all coming through. This is one of those rare occasions that we will have a post-game show where it will be on any other day other than Sunday. But things happen. I know last year we had a couple games, but they were on a Friday. So I think that I feel like let's get this on out the way. Got so much to say. I know a lot of people have done their post-game show. I know it's going to be a lot of action tomorrow. So I said, let me get this thing out the way because, the rest of the tomorrow is just going to be so many games. I don't want to get clouded. So I said, let me get this out of the way. Yes, sir. And, I'm going to open this thing up right. First, let me shout out Unified Strength. You see the hat, you see the gear, a couple of us wearing here. It's bigger than the game, y'all. It's bigger than the game. And as we will see, it's us versus everybody. So when you see this shirt, it's more than about apparel. It's almost like it's a branding from a standpoint of the people who really support this thing. We're going to need it. I told you all. Everybody had the I told you souls. I'm going to go over mines. I'm going to let y'all know how I really feel about the game. And I guarantee you, I'm going to say some stuff nobody else has said because that's who I am. Greg said it. I'm going to give y'all a breakdown in the beginning and the end. So I'm going to start this thing all right. Appreciate y'all coming through. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe on this kind of last minute. I put it out there earlier today. I'm going to go ahead and jump on today. So here I am. It's some things that I said. Shout out to Miss NY Finest was on there with us. We did our first kind of game. We watched the game together. Nothing too deep. We kind of just watched the game together, kind of gave our insight on the Discord, and one of the things that I was saying, and people really pay attention to what I say, I'm all about supporting CU. I know the potential. But it's one thing that I've been saying that I haven't heard anybody say, and people take it in a negative way. But the reality is this. This is our preseason. People thought it's about looking over and all of that, and we're going to get into that. But this is our preseason. What that simply means is this was the first time these boys played together. You're talking about a team that they played, and like you say, in a program like that, they're not jumping in the portal every year. They're not portal-driven. They are product-driven, home-driven. Most of them guys played together. Some of them guys been playing for 5-6 years, when you look at the COVID year. So they know their stuff, and they went against a team who really just played together, like an all-star team, I like to say. And we know that. We know people say they got a jail. And if anybody listen to what I've been telling you, I'm telling you, we're not going to really know what this team looked like until the 4th or 5th game. Who remember that? I've been telling you that. We're not going to really know what this team really is, who the starters, all that, because we say that like it's a good thing. It's cute. We got 5-6 people who can start, and that's cute. But what that's really telling you is you really can't pinpoint who the starter until you're able to do that. And it, unfortunately, in some ways, it's going to take some people to get out there and show who's really the best and who's really not ready, or who really the starter and who's the backup. It's cute when you're playing two-hand touch in practice because you're trying to preserve everybody and did a good job of that. Not a lot of major injuries. But that's what it do when you're not tackling, when you're maintaining. But you don't really know how people really play until they get in that game. You don't really know how well they play together You got a bunch of transfers. That's what comes with it. That's what comes with it. You know, and realistically, I've been having different conversations today. I mean, realistically, you remove a couple bonehead errors, what you gonna make? One being the first game, two being the first time you playing together. That game wasn't even been close. It was like a scrimmage game in a lot of ways. And it's a great team to do that with because they give you enough of a challenge, but they wasn't really strong enough to beat CU, like far as overpower them with talent. You know, and CU at the end of the day, they play like how they should play on their first game. It's going to be a lot of rust and wrinkles they got to get off. I mean, new coaching staff, they don't even know the players like that. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm not just going to talk it. I'm going to prove it to you. You know why they don't know the players? What's going on? I know they don't know the players yet because they don't even know who to start. They don't even know who to start. You know, we only started the people we knew. And I guarantee you them not the starters. Trevor Woods ended up with the most tackles, partly because he played the most. Him and Bentley started off. Them boys was getting scattered all over. And they put up 20 points in the first half. But guess how many they put up in the second? 6. And guess what? The personnel packages were different. They use people differently. That's what comes with this coaching staff. They're going to figure it out. It may be a game later, a few halves later. But they gonna figure it out. But they had no way. There's no way I expect them to figure it out at no doggone practice where you out there 7-on-7. They're not even tackling each other. They're not even tackling each other. What happened to the blowout? If you got ears, you'll be listening. Because the reality is the offense did blow them. That's why they lost, because they couldn't stop our offense. The defense in itself, they made a few mistakes. Don't get cute, because you will look like a clown, because ain't nothing about you gonna justify the calls that were made to help them stay in that game. Yeah, they made some mistakes, but the straight clothesline and the straight grabbing around the waist, and I mean that allows some touchdowns too. So don't get a clown made out of you. Because last time I checked, Colorado won. And realistically, they got that touchdown at the end. You had Herman Smith in there. Herman Smith. Yeah, how dumb are you? How dumb are you to be a clown talking and they won? You just don't have a life, do you? You just had to have they lost. You wanted them to lose, but since that the second best thing is to come in and look like a clown because you got a team who won, who scored over 30 points. And I'm gonna tell you, the quarterback threw on a below average day, almost 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he left at least 4 on the field. So ain't nothing about that game is ain't nothing about that game. Get that bozo the clown out of here. Real for bad. Ain't nothing about that game. Central Time. What's going on? Ain't nothing about that game. You know, I give kudos to North Dakota State for being the team that they are, but nothing about them. They really didn't do a whole lot. What they did was take advantage of certain situations. What's going on? They took advantage of certain situations, which was the mistakes Colorado made, but they really didn't. I mean, I think they're a pretty good team for what they do. But like I said, if you can't outscore Shedeur, if you can't stop Shedeur, you're not going to beat him. Even if you do have a shootout, you're just not going to beat him. Yeah, I mean, it was beyond lucky. He drove straight down the field after halftime, right into the end zone, and he threw like a low on the way pass, and the boy leg kicked up and popped it up in the air. He didn't knock it down; just popped it up in the air. That's just what happened with that. we can say a lot about. He probably shouldn't even been throwing it. We can say a lot, and we're gonna get into that. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. That's absolutely sure. But one thing they did was they drove down the field and they scored. They drove down the field and they scored. If you really look at the touchdowns that North Dakota scored, it was pretty much on busted plays. You think about it. They walked in the end zone at least 3 of those touchdowns. You know, yeah, he walked in the end zone. It was busted cover, and you expect that. You expect that with a new group. Like I said, Selman Craig wasn't out there. He got hurt pretty much first play. So we had a slew of different safeties come in. Like Herman Smith did decent. He came in. Riley, was it Savion Riley? Was sweet. Yeah, that's cute. But let me tell you this. It wasn't what you think it is. Now we're here to talk about CU. It wasn't that you act like they really did something. The game that we saw, CU made mistakes. North Dakota didn't do nothing dominant. If you smart and you a fan like you say, go look at the stats. They had about 150 total rushing yards, and that includes some of the big runs by the quarterback, especially one of that one towards the end. They didn't do no real big passing numbers. They did good for what they normally do. They didn't do nothing exceptional. The touchdowns and things that we gave up was busted plays. Period. And a lot of holding. Honestly. But you give them that. Now, what I would say is Colorado left a lot of meat on the bone. Shedeur, with all that he did, if he had to actually produce, it would have been exactly what I said. And it was exactly what I said, because he put up almost 500 yards on a subpar day. But really, he left at least 3 touchdowns on the field. He left at least 3 touchdowns on the field. For some reason, he put a lot of air. He put a lot of air on the ball. On some of those deep balls, he put a lot of air on the ball. So I think at the end of the day, he probably left at least 3 touchdowns on the field. So I don't know. It'd be scary to see what numbers he had. I bet the same clowns won't talk about when they laugh about those 4 touchdowns game. I mean, like I said, on a subpar day, he put up 4 touchdowns. He put up 4 touchdowns on a subpar day. But people laugh. The same clowns who point out what they want, they laugh about that. That just show you what Shedeur is able to do. If he can get a little air out that ball, I don't know what's up with that. Because that a couple to Jimmy, LeJounte had to come back to the ball. If he put that ball out front, man, he got at least 3-4 more touchdowns in that game. That man could have easily put over 6, almost 700 yards in, which is scary, which is exactly what we talked about, the ability. Again, you look at the receiver core, you look at people talk about what did Will Shepherd do? Will Shepherd didn't get there until the summer. So, I mean, when you look at it, they still got to kind of catch up on some things at the game speed, at the game level. But when you look at it, Wester, he gonna have his time. People doubted Jimmy. Jimmy put in the work. So we're gonna go ahead and get into some of the good, the bad, the ugly. We're gonna start with the good. We already know Travis Hunter and Jimmy kind of did Travis Hunter and Jimmy. A lot of people, again, they looked over Jimmy. Jimmy this, he can't catch. You notice that when Jimmy do drop the ball, like he dropped one yesterday, them little short kind of screen route, bubble routes, you trying to take off before he catch the ball. That's the kind of stuff that don't really work well with Jimmy. When you catching them striding down the field, running to the ball, running under the ball, you ain't seeing them drop none of those really. But these little short passes where he trying to take off before he catch the ball, that's one his strength. He could have had over 200 yards with just a couple more yards That one probably was a touchdown he dropped. But outside of that, we're not gonna sit up there and be no clown and talk about what ain't happened. We know what did. Jimmy did his thing. Travis just, it reminded me a lot of Utah, except they stole that game. They took a couple touchdowns off the board from Travis. But Travis just is like a 10-headed monster out there. When it comes to receiver, they just can't cover him. I know he was wide open. One of the plays, Shador threw the ball in the back of the end zone. And we saw Travis kind of pop up at the bottom of the screen. He was wide open over there. It seemed like Travis pretty much be open when he want to. He pretty much just, get open when he want to at the end of the day. So them boys pretty much did their thing. And another good thing, I think the second half, they only gave up 6 points. I must have missed something. They must have missed a field goal or something. But the second half, 6 points versus 20. So at the end of the day, that was good. Whatever adjustments they made, and I can tell you what adjustments they made. I mean, they changed their linebacker core. The linebacker core was, like I said, we're going to figure that out over time. And it's going to look a lot different. But I think the linebackers made a difference. Less sacks. That's a good thing. The offensive line, everybody talk about what, hide behind what they talking about here. Everybody swore that Jordan Seaton was going to get exposed here, freshman. It ain't happened. Jordan Seaton, we ain't hear much. Nobody ain't talking about Jordan Seaton today. The line, I think, gave up a couple sacks. Shador kind of stepped up. He didn't commit to the run. He kind of stepped up, then stepped back, stepped up in the pocket, walked himself into a sack. He didn't get sacked nowhere near as what people wanted to say. They wanted to find something to say. That's why people come here. And it still look like a clown because they won. But you got to find something to say because you wanted them to lose. You wanted the line to look bad. You wanted Jordan Seaton to look bad, and it just didn't happen. So this looked like this is just going to be your life probably going forward. And I hope it work out for you because almost doesn't count, do it. Move it if you want to. But what about this? What about that? They won, and it hurt your little soul, your little hang soul. They won. You want them to lose, and you hoping that they lose. What a life to live. Right? So, I also, like I mentioned, 100 yards, almost, plus 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns. Like I said, I feel like Shador left at least 3 touchdowns on the field. Because you think about it, he underthrew some balls that turned into some good games. And some of them they eventually scored, but they would have been touchdowns. The yards would have been higher and the touchdowns would have been higher. And I don't know why he put so much air up on the ball sometimes. I mean, he be throwing it up like a punt. I'd rather have more distance and less air. But I also would rather have, and you got to think about this, because I played for teams like that, and I've seen people who would rather overthrow the man by 5 yards. At least if he have to stop and catch it to come back, at least he can catch it. You showing off by throwing the ball a mile up the street, that ain't gonna help. So you gotta take it. You gotta take what you can get. I take the fact that Shador caught the ball, then Shador overthrowing you by 5-10 yards every time. So you gotta take what you can get. Some people need to learn from that. But at the same time, if he get a couple more yards out there, he had at least 3 to 4 more touchdowns. So we think he did some almost 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think he probably could have got over 600 more yards. He could have got over 600 more yards and at least 3 more touchdowns. So let's get into the bad for the clowns of the show. We got pass pressure was it wasn't all the way there as far as at least in the first part of the game it was. Got a few sacks. I did talk about kind of had a little much air on the ball offensively. I consider it a bad, even though what's your bad? They won, and look at what he produced. Running game, it didn't pop. I don't think that they couldn't run. I don't think, everybody want to say, is it a commitment to the run? I think it's one of those positions, like I mentioned, and I clearly said, it's one of those positions that's gonna have to get ironed out. It's like we in preseason mode. It's like, oh, we got all these people who could be a starter. That's not true. But you're gonna figure out who the dog, who's gonna pop a few games in, who's gonna take that position, who's gonna take the most of the reps. And right now, it looks like everybody can do it. It looks like everybody can do it. So at the end of the day, I think Hayden did real good with the reps that he took. But at the end of the day, when you're doing it, like when you're trying to figure stuff out, I don't know how you really can commit till you know your guys. And I think after a few games, I think they would know their guys. And when they know their guys, I think that will be the point where the running game can truly be established. We trying to figure out, is it Hayden? Is it Charlie? Is it Michael Welch? Is it Auguste? Even all the way down to Brandon Hood. So at the end of the day, that's all gonna be ironed out. I predict that maybe about the fourth game. I predict about the fourth game, we'll really know who's gonna be the running back, who's gonna be the linebacker, who's gonna be that guy. And I think at that point, we'll be able to really show. Plus, I mentioned something in the group. I mentioned something. I don't think it would have been a true plan to really show everything, honestly. I mean, who was that desperate to show everything? I think it was pretty vanilla. And a lot of people want to see a lot of different things, a lot of different formations. I would think that in a game like this, I call it like a preseason type game. I don't think you really want to, you're not going to show everything anyway. It's progressive throughout the season anyway. But getting ready for a game like a Nebraska next week, you're not really showing your hand like that. You're not really showing it like that. So I definitely know it's going to look different. And I also think that a lot of the things that you're going to get ironed out is going to take place over time. It's going to be very plain Jane that first game. And I only a clown would expect for him to come out here and show everything week one to give the next team everything what you're going to do, even your personnel packages. So if you can beat that team without really showing everything like everybody else do, since you talk about Colorado, everybody else do the same thing, then that makes sense. So the fact that we didn't fully show our hand, it actually helps, because if you use the film from this week, we haven't really fully exposed our personnel packages. And I know the playbook hasn't definitely been fully unraveled. I don't expect for you to fully unravel the first game in a game like that. So that's what I feel about we talking about the run game, right? From a defensive perspective, I feel like, I'm just looking at my notes. I haven't even divided into offense or whatever. But from a defense perspective, I feel like too many open QB runs. Now, granted, he made some big runs when it counted. He didn't kill nothing. I mean, I think he had the most running yards. So there goes your running game theory. He had the most running game. You know what was really cute? And I like the way they did it. I like the way they intentionally spread you out to look like we passed. I know I'm finna run. And see, when you playing a team like that in man, you notice your DB's back gonna be to him, covering the guy like they actually gonna throw the ball. They running you off so he can take off. So when you got a situation like that, you got to have a spy in the game. Now, I don't have no excuse, because at the end of the day, I feel like you got to run the quarterback. You know what he gonna do 80-90% of the time. He threw a little bit, but he didn't throw no deep ball. He's not a deep ball threat. Everything was like within 15, at most 20 yards. So you really should just have the mindset to keep everything in front of you and kind of play it like that. That we probably didn't need to do no man with that because it wasn't that serious. And plus, you need to keep your eyes on that quarterback at all times because he really sent back, hoping you turn your back to run after you kind of spread everything out and clear everything out. So that was pretty cool how they kind of went about that. Yeah, I think that was a pretty cool concept how they tried to kind of spread it out and run. You know they're gonna run, but I think take them a little too serious when you go into man in that situation. So, and again, the adjustments clearly were made. Only a clown who won't have life don't know that. You know, you put up 20 points fairly quick, you know, in the first half, and you only score once, and that's at the end of the game. And that was kind of a fluke because when you look at the personnel who was out there, you had Herman Smith out there, and he was in position. He basically was like an outside backer. He came down in the box. He really had no coverage. I think tight end or somebody came out the backfield and kind of flared out, kind of did like a swing route or whatever to the out in the flats. And he just took off running. The quarterback had already committed the run. Looked like he had already kind of turned upfield. And Herman Smith just took off with the running back. And that's why that boy basically walked in the end zone. Herman Smith was right there. But you looking at somebody who wasn't a starter. He basically was out there because Seal McCrae was out. So that's just a rep thing. But really, if Herman Smith had came up, because Herman Smith had came up and made that hit, he wouldn't have scored. But if Herman Smith say, "Oh, what if he had threw it out down the flats?" Well, you had a DB out there in the flat, even though he was in coverage. If he had threw it out there, DB was out there, y'all could have fit that. You could have released and went out there and helped with the DB. But you just completely left that quarterback to run there. There was nobody to be found. Oh, I don't know where the linebacker was at. You know, and we'll get into that. So that's the situation I kind of saw with that. That was one of his biggest runs. That was, you know, the game was pretty much put away at that point. They let him score at the end. And I was like, we just need to score one more time just whatever. And they went down and scored. It pretty much stopped them. That was like a busted play. That was a true busted play. But you got to look at the personnel who was in the game at that point. Another bad thing. I talked about the uncalled holds. I talked about that. I'm the person who said that for the clowns in the room. I don't know, you know, that the only way you're really going to be able to stop these pass rushes if you hold them. And boy, were they holding them. And they held them often. They were even holding the cornerbacks. They were holding Travis wide open multiple times. Holding while the ball was in the air, holding on the run. They didn't get called for it. Maybe that was to help them out. It definitely did. A lot of holding. That was not good. And a lot of those uncalled holds turned to big plays. I know one in particular walked into the end zone when the guy he was, I guess, hugging Travis Hunter around the waist inappropriately or something. I don't know. And the ball went right at him, and the guy got his whole arm wrapped around him. The boy walked in the end zone because he basically bear hug from the waist. So you got stuff like that. That's not cool. Like, you know, sometimes a hold can be kind of like discreet, and sometimes it's just out there. It was a lot of out there type of holding, and that's just crazy. If you know, you know. If you don't want to know, then why you talking? You don't want to know, but we watching the game. Another bad thing: hits on two and not sliding. Yeah, he said one right time for Herman. Herman was actually out there a lot. I don't know what happened to Riley because I know Riley was originally getting a lot of those reps. I don't know was they interchanging, but yeah, Herman was in there and he was doing decent, but he just that was a busted play. He definitely. I mean, the guy was running straight at him, and he just like sprinted out there to a decoy, and that man walked right there with it was nobody over there because Herman was basically lined up like an outside backer. And he was in the box, and he just took off running full speed. He didn't even try to act like he was gonna check that QB. So that's why it looked like he really just walked into the end zone. You know, that just is what it is. But That's the different personnel, reps or whatever. I'm gonna tell y'all, when Massey get his feet going, I think he's gonna be all right. I think he's gonna end up being a guy. Yeah, yeah, Travis. I don't like them plays. I don't have that in my ugly. In my bad. I don't like the plays where Travis was. I don't like the plays where Travis was catching little screen routes in the inside of kind of in the inside, really right by the tackle box. I don't like the fact that he was doing that, because at the end of the day, he kind of hurt his knee. He's doing all that juking and jive, and there's 4-5 people there. Like, get at the Draylon Miller, get at somebody who Travis already playing both sides of the ball. Like, find the right packages. That's not Travis style. I don't want him catching the ball in the right inside the doggone tackle box or anywhere near, because I think at the end of the day, you mess around and get him hurt like that. You got 4-5 people tackling him at one time. They roll up on his ankle, and then you looking stupid. Like, why is he even over there? Keep him out there upfield. Give somebody else the ball. Do that play with somebody else. I saw that while he was just, get your butt down, Travis. Get down. And sure enough, he did popping and popping, then he jump up hobbling. That's not the play for Travis. So I do agree with that. And the same thing with Two. He didn't slide now one time. They've been complaining about Two been sliding his whole career. I ain't gonna lie to you. They were talking about that at Jackson State. He didn't slide not one time. He stood up taking hits. I guess he feel like he put a little weight on. He been in the weight room. But when you don't realize somebody can stand your butt up and somebody can come from behind, like them dirty, you know what's over there at Colorado State, people like that. North Dakota State was very good sportsman. And it goes back to coaching. The coaching was very respectful. He did it like, I guess, old school, like he's supposed to. I can tell how the players was playing, and they wasn't being dirty. And then they did some weird stuff. Like, a lot of people felt like they were driving Two in the ground, but they just wasn't overly dirty. They just wasn't overly dirty. They showed a lot of sportsmanship for the most part. But I can't say that everybody else gonna do that. I can't say Nebraska ain't gonna take advantage of a cheap shot. Should do it silly behind standing up, taking hits. I know Colorado State not. So why are you not sliding? And then, some of them plays, they kind of like taking them down. It could have been a couple roughing the passes. He's been on throw the ball, and they come and take them down anyway. I've seen Colorado get called for those type of calls. So, where it's not good enough. Gave up too much. That's why Herman. Something happened. Yeah, Massey on that. Massey tough. Massey just got that Massey tough. And you saw Shallow kind of introduce him on one of those videos. Real short clip. Massey tough. Massey has a very strong IQ. I think he's he's a grad player. And Massey's one of those guys. His cover skills is good. His awareness is good. I know for sure Massey wouldn't have ran out there in the flats. He would have knew to take that quarterback. It's kind of like pitch man. Like, you're right there. You don't go outside to give up the inside. You play that thing inside out. You got help on the outside. You're supposed to have help on the inside, really. Hey, we'll get into that. We're going to get into that. If you got questions, you let me get into it. Because I'm going to tell you straight up how that works. Because everything I don't been said from a personnel perspective. I also felt like too many lateral passes. That definitely looked like Sean Lewis. That little sideways crap. Like, to me, you helping North Dakota out. They ain't stopped the deep ball yet. If you're gonna throw it, just go down their throat, because they ain't stopped nothing. They haven't stopped nothing. They didn't stop Jimmy. They didn't stop Travis. They didn't break up not one pass. You see what I'm saying? They didn't stop anything in the field. But when you going lateral, I feel like you playing to their strengths, because at the end of the day, they're not really have to cover you. You running sideline to sideline, whether it's pass routes, whether it's running the ball. I saw Charlie sometimes hit and kind of veer. Like, you have more speed than the team. You running sideways not really hurting them. You're not really hurting them at the end of the day. So I think that when you're running those lateral routes, it's only so many to be done. It wasn't a whole lot like ridiculous, but at the end of the day, it was probably because they, like I said, they weren't stopping nothing. What did they stop? They didn't stop them. You know, they wasn't stopping the pass. And I think sometimes you kind of get into some other stuff we'll kind of talk about. As far as the ugly, let's talk about some of the ugly. That's that deja vu. You know, it kind of has some, you know, you got that night game, the black on black, you know, people like got that PTSD, and you know, the whole game kind of hanging around, you know, that weird thing. A lot of people say, oh, they look the same. That's not a good thing far as thought process, because at the end of the day, that, you know, you don't want to repeat none of that. So that's an ugly thing to remotely show any similarities. Now, at the end of the day, you got to think about, again, this is the first game these guys are playing together. So if anything, you expect to have some mistakes at this point. You don't want to see certain stuff later in the season unless you got some personnel issues and people got to play that hadn't got the reps or ain't been playing together. But you expect that in the first game. Like I said, they left a lot of meat on the bone. They left a lot of meat on the bone. And it is what it is, because it was there. The touchdowns was there. The yard is clearly is there. As far as the defense, I think it'll be fairly easily fixable if you put, I'll tell you straight up, when I see certain personnel in the game, I'll tell you straight up, y'all playing. Because when they made the personnel changes to the defense, clearly North Dakota didn't score but 6 more points. So take that how you want. That's your difference in the game. That's your points variation right there. It took advantage of certain defensive personnel who is not going to be the defensive personnel. Did anybody see Webster? I didn't even see Webster get out there. I didn't see Webster get out there, but you know, in the I don't. Did anybody see Chainsaw get out there either? I don't think Chainsaw got out there, but Webster, I expect Webster to be out there, and I think he'll make his way out there at some point. I don't know why Webster wasn't out there, because when it comes to somebody who just has a high IQ for a linebacker, who know how to sniff out stuff like them draws, who know how to just know how to get to the ball. You need a guy like Webster out there. Even if, like, when you had Herman Smith out there, I would have rather had a Webster out there, because he would have sniffed that out. He wouldn't have been running out there no flats. He sniffs stuff like that out. Because you watch, you see, and that's another thing about a Webster. He watches film. If you watch film like a Webster would have probably knew the play. Oh, that's that QB draw. Because that QB had no intention of throwing that ball. He did like this and took off, and Herman Smith took off. It was no reason to take off. He just should have stayed right there, if anything. Because that QB was already committed to run. He didn't even try to telegraph any kind of pass. So that last touchdown was definitely ugly to me. That falls in the ugly category, which was, I say, a play breakdown. Wasn't no exceptional athleticism. You go try to sell North Dakota, sell your dream. They lost. I mean, we remind you of that anyway. You're trying to sell your little hate dream. But at the end of the day, they did lose. Sorry for you. But, you know, it wasn't nothing that QB did exceptional, other than, you know, like I said, you had a guy in there who was pretty much probably third team safety at that point. And they just knew they playing together. They just knew right now. So get the reps. You got to get the reps. Third down penalties. Oh, that was ugly. Third down penalties was ugly. Now, again, unlike a clown, I'm not going to try to oversell the thing, but it hurt. The two that we had, the two main ones that we had Hayes lined up in the neutral zone. He pretty much was offsides. He was offsides. And they couldn't wait. They threw that thing immediately. The Sap say he saw it too, so I'm not going to deny it. And that gave them a chance to get down the field and score. I believe they scored after that. But also, Shallow pulled a doggone Blackburn. Of course, he didn't try to take him out like Blackburn did, but the ball was missed, and he kind of came around and did a little extra hit. That was dumb. It's called it what it is. That was dumb. And it was a dumb penalty, because that was another stop. Those are big things in the game. Big dumb penalties on third down that could have led to a field goal at most, or a punt on some of them. that impacts the game. That especially that first half, it impacts the first half. Because remember, they didn't do nothing in the second half. They only had 20 points. They only had 20 points. So at the end of the day, that play right there helped them kind of keep drives going longer than what it should have. Another thing that I saw, the slants and the drags. It's not that complicated, but I have a feeling I know why. It's kind of, and I'm gonna get into it. I see it in my notes. Slants and drags. It's kind of coming across that middle. I bet y'all wonder why that middle was wide open. That middle was wide open because it was no second level. Period. I don't know what in the world they was doing at that point in the game. Like I said, that first half of the game. Clearly they made the adjustments, but that point in the game, the little slants and drags was there because it was no second level. And anybody had any kind of sense know we've been talking about this second level all season. The importance of that. If people ask about this game, I say it's going to depend on how the linebackers play second level. And I think we had a personnel in there. They weren't in there at that point. And when they put them in there, it was different. Period. That's the difference in the game. Again, you can go look at the stats. The football guys who claim football guys, you look at the stats. They scored nothing until the end of that fourth quarter. Everything else they scored in the first. So those slants, drabs, that boop, 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 boop. You only can do that when your second level ain't there. And then you run a man, you kind of trailing the guy, and he open to the open side of the field. I mean, it's just out there, it's just green grass. So nobody playing to the inside. There's no passing them off. And you really should be passing them off to a linebacker. At least that linebacker put his elbow in your stomach to slow you down or to detour you off your path. Put his elbow across your chin, let you know don't come across the middle. It's a couple things, but that linebacker should be like Monopoly. It should be like you come across this middle, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna try to avoid coming across this middle. Because if you catch it, I'm gonna knock your head off. And if you don't catch it, I'm gonna knock your head off. Just because you dragging across here and these little 3-yard drags and slants, you're gonna feel it. And you do that enough. But the problem was, and I guess I'll go ahead and get to it, failed blitzing. A lot of blitz. It's like they blitz every play. And the problem is, if you're gonna blitz, get to the freaking line, get to the quarterback, or don't blitz. You just run in there and say you did. It looked like a lot. It looked like practice. This is be real. It looked like practice when you can't hit the quarterback. That's how they was blitzing. They still kind of wired to halfway blitz. They blitzing in there, but they blitzing like with safety on. Like they don't really want to hit the quarterback. Because if you're gonna blitz, get to the quarterback. If you're not getting to the quarterback, don't blitz. That's what it looked like. So you got to come home because when you blitz, they and don't come home with it. The second level wide open because you at the line of scrimmage. You can stop at the line of scrimmage. I think Bentley played decent. You say they played well. I mean, it depends on what you call. It depends on what you call. What's going on? It depends on what you call well, because I think they played better as the game went. I think Trevor played better as the game went, but Trevor came out there stinking it up in that first half. Far as coverage, he just was out there like he was lost, and a lot of those big plays happened. He was just, and I always talk about him and Bentley been out together. We talked about that. We don't been talking about that for months. That's nothing new, and even clowns know that. They be here, they know that. Their styles are too similar. And they seem to like get buddy and run in the same hole and be too close to each other. It's real friendly. And I don't like my linebackers to be too close and not working together. So that's what was going on in that first half. There was a lot of confusion and they were blitzing. It wasn't coming home with that thing. And that was ugly to me because that's the risk you take when you blitz. When you blitz, you taking the risk that if I don't get to him, it's going to be some holes in my defense. Now, you blitzing both linebackers. I don't get that. Because the problem is y'all just running up in the hole any kind of way. The quarterback is looking for a run lane, and that's why he was able to escape. Because you running in, I watched some linebackers. I don't know what y'all looking at. I watched some linebackers run in the same hole with a man already. If you're gonna blitz, at least blitz. Have your assignment blitz in a hole that nobody's there. Don't run up the back of your defensive lineman and leave a hole freaking wide open. That's why he escaping. That's just basics. Like you're not, you're not really. I don't know. That's just that. I say I only think about a guy who really don't know the position that would do that, because you do have a lineman in assignment. You do have a lineman in assignment, but when you run it into the same hole right next to each other, like y'all holding hands, like you too close. What if the man cut back? What if y'all wrong with you all? So I think they did get better as the game went on. I think the whole defensive core got better as they went on. But I also know they changed the personnel. I saw a lot more JB. I saw a lot more Hill Green. Yeah. So who was the change in the middle of the second half? I already said who was. I just said it. The change in the linebacker was Hill Green and JB. Hill Green and JB. That's what I said. He ain't never not said that around here. I mean, I saw Bentley. I saw Trevor Woods come in kind of more on a schematic type situation. And they say he had 10 tackles. And, but you got to think about it. I know he played more than everybody else. I think Bentley probably played the second most, but I know he played more than everybody else. Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, thanks for the super chat. I think at the end of the day, I think that the linebacker play clearly showed the difference. They made the adjustments. I mean, the run game never really got nowhere at all. Again, the quarterback had the most running yards. And remember, his most running yards came from some of those big runs. It wasn't like methodically they just gushing. So they really didn't run the ball that well against Colorado for people who just thought they were going to run all over Colorado. I think they kind of went more in a 4-3 look. That's what they did. They had 3 linebackers on the field more so than 2 in the back half of the game. So you saw a lot more Bentley, JB, and Hill Green out there together, which I said, which anybody said, Greg said your chest. I said that from the beginning, that was the way to go. The way to go was to run a 4-3, and it's going to be the way to go for most teams who A, got a strong run game, or B, have a running quarterback. It shouldn't be which 2 linebackers. We should have 3 linebackers out there. Period. Especially when you have hybrid linebackers who you can put on the edge if you want to, when you need to. You have more flexibility that way, but you want more guys out there who are linebackers when they running the ball. We know North Dakota State running the ball. We know that Kansas State gonna run the ball. We know Oklahoma State gonna run the ball. We know most of these teams gonna run the ball, but we also know certain one of them also gonna have running quarterbacks. We know Kansas gonna have a running quarterback. We know UCF gonna have a running quarterback. We know he can't rise and make it that far. He gonna try to run the ball, which I would think would be done because he already tore up from the floor up. So I think that ultimately that's why that was the difference. Anybody still confused? That was the difference. That's the difference between 20 and 6. And that 6 came on the bus to play in the red zone. They shut that mess down. So, yeah, it's going to be hostile. It's supposed to be a raw game. We want it to be a hostile game. I don't know. Only the clowns want a game to be boring. I want all the players to be healthy. I want you to be winning. Only a loser wants somebody to come out there with hurt players and they've been getting whooped by everybody. I don't want to fight Frazier. I'll go ahead and fight George Foreman if Frazier lost. I want to play your best. I know losing mentality that ain't normal these days. people, especially, they want to talk junk. But I'm telling you, I want Nebraska at their best because I want to beat you at your best. And I want a good game. I don't want to watch no sorry game. I don't want to watch no blowout. If I call it a blowout, it's because of the personnel, the matchup. In the matchup, that's what it is. Because that same defense that shut them down to 6 was out there, it would have been the boring game I said. The only thing that made it a game is some busted play, a couple busted play, and some dynamic holding that's not called in the first half. Some dynamic holding. Only a clown can't see that. Busted play. I remember it right in the beginning of the game, probably about the second play of the game, Trevor Wood. The guy did a little in route right up across Trevor Wood's face. Yeah, and nobody was there with Trevor Wood somehow. I don't know where the other linebacker went. It was no run play. Safeties was playing a mile back. I don't know what the safety was doing. That's another thing. I don't know why the safeties was playing 100 miles back like somebody finna go deep. The boy ain't throw the ball deep. He couldn't throw the ball deep if he wanted to. Why are you so far back and you got to come all the way up and make a play? Come on up. He ain't finna throw it over your head. Your doggone DB is already playing man-to-man. Nobody in zone. Ain't no cover 2, ain't nothing. So why are you so far deep? So, hey, I think so, man. I mean, you got to think about it. He don't have to. I said it from the beginning. He is a package player. He has a role. And you got to play him like they said they're going to do, in the best place where he can play. In the best place he can play. That he going to benefit from the team. But you're not going to tell me that you're going to take Hill Green off the field for Trevor Woods to be out there. I don't care if Bentley out there. Trevor Woods shouldn't be out there with Bentley and with Hill Green on the bench. And not even JB, because JB is more versatile. JB can come off the edge. JB can stay in the middle. JB is athletic. Why would he not be out there? So that's my oh, I had one more thing. I kind of skipped over it. Goal line passing. I don't like the idea of goal line passing because we said we got to run a game. We do have a running game. We got a couple bowling balls. We got to be able to get, and we did at times. Charlie got a couple first down. We know we could do it. Just the play calling got to be better on the goal line where, you don't be forced to pass or whatever, or you feel like, oh, I ran it on the wrong down, I can't run it again. We got to be able to hand that ball off and get it in the end zone. I don't care what jumbo package need to be put in there, what tight end need to be put in there. You got to be able to. I don't know what motion you need, whatever you got to do. Move people around, get them twisted up, get that ball in the end zone. That's what we need to do. I think it's gonna happen. I don't know. Maybe somebody was holding it back. Appreciate that. Yeah, we was live in the Discord. Let me throw that Discord up there. Yeah, we was live in the Discord a little bit. We had a little time. We kind of talked it over. We talked it through the game. It was cool. Make sure y'all join the Discord. Stop through there. We going down game day. Talk it up. We talk it up throughout the week. Where was it here? Yeah, they said the Travis Hunter hole. Yeah. Man, they wrapped man whole waist, man. It was stuff out there. Y'all know when Travis Hunter caught that touchdown, they was not gonna throw a flag. They did not throw a flag. The man wrapped his whole arm around Travis' neck. Travis got that arm all around it. He had to do all the acrobatic to catch that ball. They was not gonna throw a flag, and they did not throw a flag. So that says plenty. That says plenty. And what's the easiest man to cover? Anybody can cover. I can cover. Y'all can cover somebody for 2-3 yards. You ain't got to worry about speed or nothing. You're playing to their advantage when you're throwing the ball on goal line. They inside the 5. They ain't got to cover you with a couple yards. You linebacker can do that. So that right there, it don't work. I mean, all thing you can do is throw jump balls, and that's cute. But I doggone jump ball draw or something. Yeah, we did not put the man up on the center. All that helps too. Yeah, absolutely. If we didn't put him up on the center, it's hard to take people serious when they in the shotgun saying they're finna run that ball. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. But that's again, it's like they didn't show a lot. That what makes me think. So like, what are y'all not showing? Like, what's going on? You got to run that ball. You got in that red zone, man. Even if you're gonna plan to throw it, you got to show them that you run that ball. Yeah, they let them play, but the thing is, you can't just let people play to the point where you can wrap your arms all around my man and tackle him down. Why? And so you can get away and make big plays. You're not letting me do that because our line wasn't holding like that. You don't let linemen play. You let the defensive backs play. And like I said, that boy was all over Travis. That you can say they let him play on that, but like if he didn't catch that ball, that would have been ridiculous. He was all over him. He was on top of him with the ball in the air. There's no excuse. The ball was in the air. You don't touch the man while the ball is in the air. Ball in the air, and you got your back to the ball. First of all, that's a face guard because you never turned around to try to get the ball. So that's an automatic penalty right there. But you're making contact with him. You stop him from coming back to the ball. Your back is to the ball, and not now a piece of yellow laundry came out. So they was not gonna throw it. Same way when I saw on one of the plays when Shador threw that ball way back when we should have been running it then too. He threw it to Wester trying to get Wester the ball. He wanted Wester to get a catch. And he threw it up a mile in the air. Shador, get the doggone ball out front. I know you don't overthrow him, but he tried to come back, and that referee was not gonna throw that pass interference. He held that flag for an hour before he threw it. I know he is not finna. It's like he got a summon the earbud, throw the flag, because he maybe needed permission to throw the flag. Because he wasn't gonna throw that flag on Jimmy. I mean, I don't when Wester ran into number 36. We saw that motion, but they need to show that jet sweep. They showed it, but I don't want to see a lot of lateral runs, honestly. I don't want to see a lot of sideways because you're helping them out that way. You kind of helping them out that way. I think that. Yeah. Yeah, they were holding the mess out that D line. They were holding the mess out that D line. Telling you. They were holding the mess out of them. They were holding Travis. They were holding Travis like he was Tyson out there. They were like, oh, hold him, rope-a-dope, lay on the ropes. Because, man, they couldn't do nothing with Travis. Travis slamming them and everything. I'm glad he's aggressive because they would have took it. He started pushing them off. He like, y'all gonna be touching them and push y'all off. Because, man, they called themselves being physical, I guess, but it was a lot of pass interference. No, man, he went because all that going on, that flag should have been on the ground before Travis even caught the ball. That man had his whole arm around Travis' neck. He clotheslined that man. Travis was falling away from the ball and had the man arm wrapped around his neck. Yeah, I like to see more safety in the box. Yeah, man, they were missing all kinds of calls. So they made that game closer. And then yeah, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that going to Travis like that. I feel like they definitely made the game a lot closer. And that was some of my concern all off season because that game close. If you playing a game close like that, them kind of calls can pay. That mean that's how they lost last year. I done told y'all that. Penalties that was called and penalties not called. How they were ripping Xavier Weaver jersey all off him up down his whole shoulder pads hanging off right in front of the referee. And they weren't calling it. And they smirking at him. That stuff can be costly. And that was a close game, but let's be real. Outside of just some fluke, North Dakota just didn't have the firepower to do that, or else they could have won the game. But when you run against somebody who you just keep playing those kind of games, which they did last year, they kept playing them tight games. That one of them third down calls, penalties, roughing the pass, not roughing pass interference. are not calling pass interference while receivers going up and they pulling them all down, that could be a first down for us. But as soon as we do something on third and 8, we get them, first down. That's when you be like, okay, everybody try to be cute with this. Everybody try to be considerate. Everybody try to be understanding. But at the end of the day, it's cute until it hurts you. Being passive is cute until it hurts you. Because then when you need a call, they ain't giving it to you. They not giving you the call to put you in the game. They giving you the call to take you out the game. I want to see what's the Shepherd. Yeah, that's gonna take time. That's gonna take time. These are new guys. You notice the guys who played with Shador last year played the best because they got the most rapport understanding. Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. And they gonna be at home. You gotta understand. Look what you're looking at. Look what you're asking here. Coach Prime, just like people want to come here and run their mouth on a win, they looking for any angle they can take. Having Coach Prime take an L is exactly what his haters want. And they're going to sell that ticket, man. They're going to get so much publicity on that. People think they just get publicity on Coach Prime winning. They get off on him losing. So they're going to do their best to help the other team out. If you keep that mess close enough. And sometimes they'll get blatant and take touchdowns and crap from you, all that. So Colorado got to be careful. Because the referees ain't finna help them. If anything, they finna hurt them. If anything. Somebody said they look the same as last year. In some ways, but it is first game. So at what point they look like TCU game? Probably in some ways. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, this is true. But if you let somebody, hey man, we can't be clowns. We gotta really look at this thing. Like North Dakota, let's say they put guys in the field. Everybody say that. They line about not too much different aisles, right? Maybe they a little smaller. And the only thing they could do is hold you, because remember, you trying to play the game the right way. You trying to run past and put a move. If they grab you around both of your shoulder pads like that, and you doing that you ain't gonna dominate that. If I run around you, I beat you. But if you grab me and have your hand's supposed to be on the inside, and you grab me around, basically hugging me and pulling me, that's nothing you dominate. That's nothing you dominate. But the only way they're gonna dominate is putting a lot of points on the board. They gotta all the points. They can't leave no points on the field. But I don't know how the defensive line can dominate if people holding them. Because we like, they ain't getting to the ball, but we watching them get bear hug. Like, and they find them. They doing like that. Like, that's not getting blocked. Getting block is here, not here. And I'm like swinging you like that because you don't latch on to me. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe they're gonna have to get dirty and then they get penalties. I don't know. Like I say, hit them in the sack. And that'll be dirty. They get some penalties. Then we talking about on this one. Because you holding me, I need to chop you in the throat, poke you in the eye. I mean, it's like it gets dirty at that point. But should do it through a pass to Western. I don't know, man. What should have probably been in? But again, they ain't found their rotation yet. That's what I said from the beginning. They ain't found their rotation yet. Well, yeah, I've said that, but people don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it, Brett. They want their own narrative. I mean, you shut them down. You got to keep in mind, this is a number 2 team in the nation and their division. To me, they almost like a group of 5 team. They'll run through a lot of group of 5 teams. They like a Boise State, Fresno State. They like on that level. We can try to act like they are Division 1. They just in a different than the FCS. And we the FBS, whatever that means. But talent-wise, clearly they can play, but they probably more like they'll go whoop up on the Colorado State. They like in that level. They not below that. So they decent. they nothing exceptional. They ain't have no, they ain't got no Travis on. They ain't got no exceptional athletes over there. They well coached, and that little holding helped them, and our mistakes helped them. Or else they wouldn't have been in the game. And the only way they was in the game is because of our mistakes. They didn't gush us with the run game or the pass game. It was just first game mistakes. They had no answer for Shador. Anything that Shador didn't take, he didn't take it because of mistakes. Yeah, he gonna have to go up on the center, and I know they know how to go center again. Maybe this is one of the things they ain't showing yet. That's the only thing I can say, because I know he goes up on the center. I know he practiced it. So maybe they're not showing that yet. It will be more better play. I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. It's your second game. You get to knock some dust off. You get to kind of identify who's who. It's no longer a question. You trying to figure out, you got a better idea of your personnel. They have a game under their belt. Right? And Nebraska, I don't think they have a running quarterback. Running quarterbacks is an iffy thing. It's a scary thing because, especially if they got speed and the size. That's why Cam Newton was such a problem. He was before his time. He was a big old giant running around. He beat people by himself. He ran through the whole SEC by himself. He didn't have a lot of superstars on that Auburn team. They ran through everybody because you got a big quarterback who can not only throw, but he can run the ball. So if you finally get pressure on him, he can break out the pocket and scramble. It's like you finally got to him, and he just throwing y'all down like little kids. He's a jolly green giant back there. All right. Good for you. Block a field goal. Block a field goal. Or whatever that means. Yeah. They're going to have to put up points. And I think when the defense come around, which they will, when the defense kind of iron out their personnel. Yeah, you think about it. People ask about BJ Green. BJ Green didn't start. BJ Green didn't start. He didn't get out there. He got out there, but he didn't start. Hayes started. So it's some things they're trying to iron out. There's some things they're trying to iron out. We talking about Jimmy Horn. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you talk about Arizona is decent. Arizona don't really have a lot of weapons like that. Arizona really don't have a lot of weapons, but they probably more designed like they was fairly disciplined team. Their defense was fairly. All you gotta do is have a solid defense. You'll beat them. Which when our defense stepped up, that kind of solidified everything. Because they don't make a lot of mistakes and they weren't getting a lot of calls. So yeah, you got to watch out, man. You play dumb you want to. We know what we up against. Yeah, this gonna be a good game. Yeah, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable, especially for somebody like Shiloh. You've been playing too long. You're a leader. Like, what in the world are you doing? Like, that makes no sense. That's gonna be a good game because they're going against the number one. We played the number 2. Oklahoma State played the number 1 tomorrow, so that's gonna be good. Yeah. Yeah, that was a very below average game. Sure, they'll still put up numbers, so they better be scared. They better be scared because I mean, the numbers he did. I mean, he definitely got a ways to go. Yeah, I mean, I would think everybody got more work to do this week 1. Yeah, the rotation was bad. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, they don't have a rotation. You got to think about it. Again, this is a new team. Got a lot of potential. And you out there playing 2-hand touch at practice. This is your only real time to evaluate. Like I said, it's like a preseason game. Win, lose, or draw, no matter you should have been food. It don't matter. It don't matter how many points they win by or not. It's gonna happen. They're gonna have to make adjustments. We don't even know who our starters are. We're figuring that out as we go. We're not talking about a returning team on either side of the ball. So the adjustments gonna be made. I'm telling you, for at least the first few games. And if it looks itchy, it's itchy. As long as they win the first few games at this point, because that's what they're trying to figure out. The right packages, the right personnel. You're not gonna figure that out at practice doing walkthroughs. And that's what I said. I always said, pass the ball. Pass the ball. Run game gonna come around. Once they figure out who they need to get in there and keep in there, I think it'd be Hayden. Like it's supposed to be. But they put Charlie in there. They going through the process to let people prove. Yeah, but none of them guys make no difference, man. They ain't make no difference. They're running back. They had a running back. You can't dismiss the running back they had because the coach said the running back they had in there was good enough. So it's not like they had a big drop off. And I don't think they safety would have made much of a difference. I mean, we just had too many weapons. That safety wasn't gonna go over there and cover Travis Hunter. What are you talking about? Safety have nothing to do with that. Travis Hunter scored 3 touchdowns. That safety he couldn't have helped them. He couldn't have helped them. Yeah, the coaches got to go back. Everybody, the block bully did his thing like we expected. I guess we were wrong about that. I think everybody was wrong, but they were talking about Jimmy Horn. Jimmy Horn this, Jimmy Horn. I don't know. People been on Jimmy Horn. You know, we be on Trevor, but you know, it's like Trevor Woods, like, you know, it is what it is. You can point out, but Jimmy Horn put in them numbers last year. I don't know what Shiloh was doing. I really don't. I can't tell you what Shiloh was doing. Yeah. I mean, they look bad, but I tossed twice by a dude, 275. I don't know. I ain't see it. You got to pull up some clips, drop them in the Discord. That's where we got the Discord. You drop some clips in there. I don't know what he doing. I don't know what Shiloh was doing, man. He got to get it together, though. He actually pushed a couple guys out of bounds. He was kind of borderline with that. He was trying to be overly physical, you know. Did it feel like last year? Not necessarily, but in some ways. I give my good, bad, and ugly. That's my game breakdown. That's what we've been doing for an hour and 12. We're not quoting stats or nothing necessarily. I just do my good, bad, and ugly. We got through the good. We got through the bad, the ugly. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish up on going forward. Like what I want to see. Y'all can drop it in there as well. Like anybody we play going forward, I think that they will have a template. And I'm going to tell you what we're going to see. They're going to continue to throw drags if they can get away with it. They're going to continue to, yeah, that's how you know you weak. You're a weak troll because you troll on the winning team. That's what, good luck. This the best you got. Good luck. Trying to get into the position of coach. That's cool. He got caught up, man. I don't know. I think Travis should have popped out there. Well, he saw that guy. He stayed on the inside, and that tight end popped out there. Again, that was a mishap. Those mishaps happen when you got new players. And look at you got Riley in there. Riley is a backup. So that's what you run into when you got backups in the game and they ain't communicating like they should, and they're not on the same page with the starters because they probably don't rep with the starters. And that's what happens. And you live and you learn. You know, you live and you learn. But for the hater, they still won. I know that hurt you. Your life's full of hate, and it's just not working. But I'm gonna say going forward, time of possession is gonna be a strategy. And everybody always said keep should do off the field. Yeah, that's true. He got caught in the wash. You know how I feel about that. For anybody on the second level, you shouldn't be in the wash or rub or all that. You know, and if they do, you know, switch. Don't try to force your way through the rub. Switch. You go inside, you pick them up, I pick up the outside. That's the easiest way. Especially the running teams. They're going to try that strategy. But I don't think it's a winning strategy against Shador. We seen that time of possession thing. I think ultimately if our defense do what they're supposed to do, you're not going to be able to play the time of possession game effectively. but they're banking on your defense not being able to stop them. That's the time of possession game they want to play. So I think that's a template for anybody going forward. They're gonna try to mow the clock down. That's what we're gonna see going forward. And going forward, not fear the running game, or else they gonna not fear the running game. I think you got the running backs to run the ball. Again, my excuse that I'm gonna give them is they're still trying to figure out the personnel. I think last year, maybe last year, maybe not. I think when you got a Brett like Hayden who showed he can run the ball, you didn't see Augustine, you didn't see Welch in there yet. You didn't see nothing but really 2 running backs in there, which I thought we'd see at least 3. So I think at the end of the day, adjustments going to be made with this run game. Once you solidify who the running back, we're not going to do this little flip-flopping thing. I think that's what he meant when he said, I just need 2 running backs. People like, oh, we're only going to use 2 running backs. I think this year you're going to have to identify early who's going to be the ones who going to run the ball so we can get them the ball. So when it's 3rd and 2, we're not figuring out who. We know who's going to get the ball. That's what I think it is, even though you may use other running backs. And I think that the run game will be established. I think it's going to be Hayden, and I think at some point we're going to see Augustine, and we'll see Michael Welch. And I think I agree with y'all. I think Michael Welch is definitely a goal line runner because he's a ball. He fall for it, Well, I already said this. It's for certain that they don't. It's for certain that they're not gonna show everything. That's just basic football. They're not gonna show everything. There's no way in the world they would want to do that because that would make no sense for anybody, even from week to week, to show more than you have to show. I think they kept it vanilla, and they definitely show packages. I feel like it's kind of feel more like a preseason game, and from the standpoint you kind of identify who gonna do what. Who gonna do what? And I think that's what we're trying to identify. As much as you dominate, which they did as far as moving the ball, they really didn't stop our offense. It's just our defense had a lot of miscues, which you expect. But they really didn't stop Shador. On his worst day, they didn't stop Shador. They didn't stop Shador. The only interception they got from a kick up in the air, some kinky stuff. To catch up, and they did not fall behind. Chuck, had they not, they would have ran more because they started. I mean, I just think that I can't even fully say if that was the case, but this is our Deebo Samuel. That's when we recruited him. We knew he was a Deebo Samuel, so he gonna be in the backfield and all that, just like a Deebo. He built like a Deebo, he played like a Deebo. He's just young, so. I don't know. We could say they didn't move no one, but I mean, people bragged about that D line in North Dakota. They didn't really get a whole lot of. They weren't sacking Shador like that. They didn't dominate. So, that's another group that's just now playing together. So it's not far fetched that they get more reps because what's going to happen is you saw how they were lining up. They actually did pretty well for the first week. Somebody lining up 7 or 8 guys on the line, and then you don't know who coming, and they popping back into coverage. You have that kind of stuff going on. I think that they did very well to have that, and for all the people who just knew they were going to expose, because a hater got to find something to be right about. That's so dumb. Well, what about this? Well, they won, but what about this? You like a clown, because you're the same people who said they're going to expose Jordan C. So you're the moving the foot. You moving the field goal posts all over the place. You moving the field goal posts all over the place. Because, you just knew that they're going to expose Jordan Seaton. Okay, that didn't happen. They really didn't expose nobody. You looked at a week 1 team who you'd rather see the mistakes now, who they left a few touchdowns on the field. Then one because they was covered that they happened. They had a little mishaps. Defense had a few mishaps, and that's what got you in the game. That's what got you in the game. So I think that some jobs will be lost and earned because That's just natural. Like we get to finally see who's who. There's no 7-on-7 practices. No, don't hit the quarterback. Don't hit the receivers. Stay up. You really didn't get to see who do what till you get on that field. And after you see a few games of that, as long as you winning, you good. But I don't think for the umpteenth time we're gonna really know what this team really is to really right at UCF and probably right after that. And that's when the world gonna know who they are at that point. Because anything they do before that, everybody gonna write off, move the goalposts. Well, you didn't beat them bad enough. Well, you didn't do this good enough. Yeah, well, y'all did this last year. Well, y'all look like last year. It don't matter if they win every game. The clown gonna come in here talking crazy. But what they don't know is the fact that this team here is a team that appreciate that. Prime Sports Media, appreciate that. Appreciate the super chat. I think that at the end of the day, we're gonna get to see. You're welcome. You're gonna get to see somebody gonna lose their position. The linebackers gonna be moving around because this is when you're gonna see what they can do. You can't see that at practice. You see the man ain't letting them tackle. So the practice is the game is gonna finally give us a true analysis of what we got. It's no longer we got 4 or 5 people that can start. That's no longer the case. Now you see who actually can start. Now you see who actually gonna start on that loaded D line. We don't know who gonna start. As long as you get in, as long as you finish, all of that's gonna change. Because now we got game film to know who's gonna be the starters. BJ Green didn't start for whatever reason, but that probably won't be for long. Who knows? We got all these great ends and edge rushers. We got all these great tackles. It's starting to iron itself out. That's what we're saying. Linebackers, who's gonna start? Should it be this first? Should it be? It's ironing itself out. Yeah, we didn't see no pudding. Yeah, Hill Green came in and it kind of, we talked about the refs. And I've been talking about the refs all year. You know what they're gonna do. You know what they're gonna do. They gonna do what they do. The refs gonna do what they gonna do. And y'all ain't seen nothing yet. I'm sorry to tell y'all. That's why we here with it. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. We got to call that mess out. Everybody talking with these clowns. Forget the clowns. Forget them. All this stuff about to change. All that stuff about to change. And the defensive line about to be solidified. Because there's a lot of people who didn't play who gonna be playing. Let them go through the process. Let them go through the process of officially figuring out who the real dog. Everybody look like dogs playing two-hand touch. Because he didn't want to hurt everybody else breaking the players' legs at practice and all that. He did the right thing. They made it to the season. Now we get to see who really out there. Because we can't really hit at practice. Every running back look great out there. When you out there touching them and letting them keep running. Nobody tackling. Linebackers don't have to tackle at practice. You don't know who the real linebackers till you get out there in the game and see Hill Green get out there and boop. Trevor Woods look like a monster out there when you ain't taking people down. Everybody look like a monster out there. That's what we are. Trust the process. What we got here? Online picked up Texan. Yeah. They did a decent job, and they're only gonna get better as long as they stay healthy. Yeah, I think that I don't know how we do it, but I think Stallmeyer needs to play all 3 positions. He needs to play safety, which we thought he moved to, nickel, and corner. And I'm thinking maybe like what Herman Smith was, maybe Stockmire would have been better. I hope he would have been better as far as reading that play. I know Wester would have been better off. I know Wester would have sniffed that out. He would have sniffed that out for the ball even snap. And that boy wouldn't have scored. And then we would have been like, they didn't score the whole second half. And them haters still would have been looking dumb. Y'all didn't blow them out. But we ain't talking about they didn't score the whole second half. They had busted plays. But it wasn't that busted about them not stopping Shador. They weren't busted plays. We just outplayed them. me see. They say, okay, but hanging Benson in the call. Y'all tell Benson that and see that because maybe you need to hear that. Y'all here talking crazy about you, Benson. Yeah, what's the probably be that guy over the next couple of weeks? You're gonna see Wester out there doing his thing. You know, Jimmy was Jimmy Day. They key in on Jimmy. You got Wester. Wester can do the same thing. You see how quick he is? He really do that stuff Travis be doing, just juking people in the phone booth. Wester is gonna be that guy. So let me see what I'm missing. I got messages. I think ultimately we need to figure out the personnel soon. Time. So I think that if I was to give anything as I close out on this wonderful Friday night, I stayed up all last night, jumped early this morning, and I guess I'm gonna rest tonight. I feel like we up all night again. But it wasn't like last year, like them on West Coast games. Man, it was crazy. But find your personnel. We be good. Yeah, Livingston adjust, man. Livingston adjust. And you ain't seen nothing yet. And then sometimes that would look like sometimes you got too much talent. Sometimes you got too much talent. And that's the case. But what do you know you have until you figure out who. And it's sometimes when you have too much talent, you think you have stuff you don't have, or you got to put it in the right box. You know, I got 100 people who can play safety. It seemed like before the season, but as they play, I can kind of sort them. Okay, this guy, theoretically, that's what Livingston gonna do. He gonna find out what people's strengths are, but you can't really do that off of practicing against the guy who you going 3/4 half speed, not trying to hurt each other. Like you can't really until you get into these games. So I think he will have a better idea being a new coach, not just new coach to his position or to the school, but just this never into this team. But the players are new. Like that is similar to last year, but I think they're gonna be in a better position depth wise and skill wise. But you can't escape. Everybody talk about chemistry. You can't escape the potential. It's the potential of what we're seeing. It ain't guaranteed that they would have did. They could have had a better game, but when you play a team like North Dakota, who, like I said, they all been there 4 or 5 years, 6 years, some of them. They're not necessarily more talented. People say they got a good program. It wasn't so much North Dakota. They did what they supposed to do. It was the Colorado who you got a 50-50 chance of being sharp or this has some stuff you need to fix. And you kind of seen that dichotomy in the game. The first half of the game, defense was raggedy. The second half, they was lights out. Offense, was explosive at times. And like I said, I feel Shador left a lot of points on the board. And he still almost threw 500 yards. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate the super chat, Marie. That's where we are. I don't think we're bad as you. If you listen to a hater, like, yeah, I didn't like her seeing a lot of stuff too, but I actually played ball for all these. That's how you know a hater just a hater, because realistically, like, they didn't have to play like that, but it's not a surprise of the mistakes that they did have. It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. It can go either way. Vegas and everybody predicted a close game, but we say, okay, they will score more. They actually did. They actually kind of scored. I think I said 38, something like that, 38-10 or something like that. They were in the range. I gave them a touchdown and a field goal, and that's really what it would have been if you take away some weird holes that they got away with. That busted play at the end. They got up to 26. You take away a touchdown, where are you? You're at 19. So, I mean, it looked a lot more. At some point, right before he scored at the end, I said, Colorado, go ahead and score. They'll be up 11. You know, so I said, feel good going to. I mean, they didn't have to be intimidated, you know, because that's not how you play football. I don't think I think they wanted to win, but they wasn't shocked by not winning, because at the end of the day, they're not as strong of talent. And that's what I said from the beginning. It's not a good matchup. They would have beat anybody. They would have beat anybody at their level, and which they do. But you going against Shador. See, when I watched that game, when the dumbest play that they did of the night, it cost them. And I said it. We watched live. Anybody in here know we was on the live together. When they called that timeout before that punt, before halftime, I said they screwed. They had decent momentum. They were controlling the game. The clock was going to run out, and I don't know what happened. Personally, I don't know what I thought they was about to run a fake, because they called timeout and then they punted. I said, here come the fake. Watch for the fake. They punted it, put the ball inside the 5, whatever. I said, they must ain't see them games from last year. Shador seemed to get off more on that stuff. And he verbalized that game too in all last year. He liked the Brady mode stuff. Man, that man drove right down the field. Yeah, we got a field goal, but what did happen? I said, y'all don't woke Shador up. And now he don't broke the ice off of him. He don't got warmed up. That's what that meant. He went into halftime. He knows he came right out. Yeah, the field goal. I'm not field goal. The touchdown and kicked the ball up in the air. You know, Shador drove right down the field, right to that pretty much that red zone inside the 5, wherever they was, when he threw that pick off the back of the man's leg. That was after halftime, and it pretty much was lights out from that point on. They got that if they didn't do that, they would have had a better chance. They should have ran that clock out and then punted that ball. They gave Shador enough time to go down that field, which I knew he was going to do, and I said they messed up. You know, I think that Shador's talent level is just too much, and that's what it was. They're a good team for what they do, but like I said, you can't. It's hard to beat a Shador. Shador threw all them yards, all them touchdowns on a bad day. It wasn't a really bad day, but it was below average for him. As far as there was a lot of meat left on that bone, like I said 100 times. So once they make these adjustments to the personnel, it's not like they don't have the personnel. See, last year they didn't have the personnel to make the adjustments. We wanted them to do more, like, let's have more options as far as like rushing the quarterback, stuff like that. They have it. They just got to get them out on the field and get them out there on the field together. I keep saying the right combination. You got Hayes on the field. Do you have Hayes and Okonola and Shadoze, or do you have McNeil out there? You know, or do you switch it up and have McNeil and Shadoze and BJ and McCoy? See, they got to figure that out, man. They got to figure that out. You got a lot of weapons, and that hurts you. Do you put Barnes in there? Do you put Carter? You got so many weapons, it actually hurts you. Yeah, and then you have somebody like Travis. Travis literally won the game and could won the game by himself. They had no answer for him. Like, anytime they needed to get the ball, he was open. It was like playing one-on-one basketball. Like, just give me the ball. You can't do nothing with that. Even if you win it, here you go, Travis, take the game back. It's like, doggone, I can't do nothing right. This already been established. So I don't know what we listen to. It's already been established that they was a decent team. And also, this review is for, what they say, Colorado versus North Dakota State. That's what we're talking about. I don't know what we're confused. That's what we're talking about. And we'll talk about Nebraska when we talk about them. They got their own week. We got all week to talk about them. You don't even know enough to talk about Nebraska. We ain't even seen them play yet. They play tomorrow. Then we have something to talk about Nebraska. But what we do know is what Colorado did, because they actually played last night in North Dakota State. So that's where we at with it. Nebraska gonna have their day, and then everybody else gonna have their day. Right now, this is North Dakota Day, and we've already established North Dakota is decent for what they had, but it just Shador, Travs, the weapons too much. We didn't fully operate and function in the weaponry that we had, and because we just couldn't. I mean, we still developing, we still gelling, we still building rapport. We didn't fully operate our receiver weaponry. We didn't fully see Will Shepherd kick in there and get in there. We didn't really see Wester really break out. We didn't see Amarion Miller really do it. So we got so many weapons. Sometimes it's like you think you need all of them, but they'll have their time. And that's what makes Colorado what we say they are. You act like you seeing they ceiling. You looking at their floor and you talking. You're talking big on a bad day, they beat a good team. On a bad day, Shador threw almost 500. So we're not looking at their ceiling. We're probably looking at the hater ceiling. That's the best they got. Because we know they're going to all skimpy out of here when they keep winning. So I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all, appreciate y'all coming through on this Friday night. Kind of like I didn't do a lot of promoting of it, but y'all are here. Appreciate the day ones, the people who are always here. Because, we usually do this thing on Sunday. So make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. We're not going to do it on Sunday. I just didn't want to wait. And they got all these games tomorrow. I didn't want to mix that all in. So y'all enjoy y'all weekend. We still going to have our inspiration, motivation. We're going to have some stuff. Who never knows what can pop up in between now and then. But I appreciate y'all coming through. We're going to see y'all soon. We got Nebraska coming up. And, yeah, they're going to have their day. They're going to have their day. It's going to be like last year. It'll be like last year. They're going to have different receivers probably. It might be Wester next week. It might be Wester next week. It may be Will Shepherd next week. But one thing for sure, we got plenty to go around. You key in on one. Oh, we're going to shut Travis down. Okay. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one. What is that? Calabasas? Okay. Appreciate y'all. Go ahead and drop a little something for the sponsor. Yeah.